Push to relax marijuana laws hit roadblocks. Folks, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris campaigned on decriminalizing at the federal level marijuana and marijuana-related products. They campaigned on it. Now, another fact here, is that the legislature, the Senate and the House actually don't have any power on this. Well, they do in the sense where they can, dictate, stuff like the Controlled Substances Act. However, the president in the executive branch do have the ability to reschedule what is on the Controlled Substances, list. They could reschedule marijuana from Schedule 1. Currently, according to the Joe Biden administration, marijuana is as damaging to the human body as methamphetamine and heroin. Actually, I think methamphetamine is Schedule 2, actually. So actually, it's more damaging than methamphetamine, and as damaging to a person's body and as addictive as heroin. Marijuana, according to the Joe Biden administration, has no medical use and no hint of a medical use. So if something has a possibility of being used for medicine, then they would put it into a different category so that they could fund research into seeing whether or not it has medicinal use. According to the Joe Biden administration, weed has no medicinal use and doesn't even appear to possibly have a medicinal use, despite decades and decades of science, centuries of religious practices. So again, folks, and he campaigned on fixing that problem. He hasn't done so, and in fact, he has dodged every possible, so has Kamala Harris, dodged every possible question on such a thing. So I want to read this because this is, what they're going to try to do in this article is, I think, personally, reprehensible. And so real quick, though, I live in one of the states right now, that in the half of the states in this country that has legalized such a product, because again, this country is fucking stupid, and it's illegal federally, but it's legal on a state-by-state basis. So just give me a fucking sec here. Facing a tough midterm election and divisions in Congress, the Biden administration is sidestepping the politically sensitive issue of loosening marijuana laws, even as the idea has gained support of most Americans. The first paragraph of this article is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. So they're facing a tough midterm election, right? They're facing a tough midterm election. And the first paragraph here is deciding, okay, so it's a tough midterm election. And so it's a good thing that they're not doing something that has the support of most Americans. That's politically sensitive. Politically sensitive, and then in the same sentence, even though it has gained the support of most Americans. So 70% of people want this, but it's also politically sensitive. And they shouldn't do it because the midterms. So already we're pretty fucking stupid here. More than half of U.S. states have legalized cannabis use for some purposes. Lawmakers have proposed decriminalizing marijuana, which would entail reduced penalties for users, and have pushed for giving the industry access to banking services. Those promoting changes, including a diverse range of political figures from former House Speaker John Boehner to progressive Rep. AOC. If someone like myself and a progressive like AOC can find common ground, it begs the question, why hasn't the president acted? Said Rep. Dave Joyce, a Republican from Ohio, who has worked on legislation to decriminalize the drug and encourage states to expunge records. The solutions are there. It's just a matter of political will, he said. Major legislation to decriminalize of cannabis appears stuck amid proposed opposition from some Republicans and some moderate Democrats. Again, the legislature doesn't need to go through the legislature. Now, is it ideal if it goes through the legislature? Because then another president can just schedule one-ify cannabis if they win, and they could theoretically, right? So is it better to enshrine that as a law? Yes, but it is unnecessary right now. What we could do is decriminalize it right now and then push for legislation later, and then use the decriminalization status to collect data to push for further legalization and that kind of stuff. Also, in my opinion, it is important to note that in some capacities, the argument for decriminalization is better than legalization, because typically we see in a lot of these states like Virginia and New Jersey, a lot of these states, in California, when they legalize marijuana, they will do so in such a way that only allows big business to be legal sellers and distributors, which basically fucks over poor people and creates an even weirder style where there is a black market. Did you know that the black market, that is to say, illegal weed sales, actually surpassed legal weed sales in the year of 2020, I believe, in California. So even though California has legalized marijuana, because of the stupid laws when it comes to the legalization status, only certain distributors that happen to be big buddies with all the politicians can actually become growers and so forth. So even though it is legalized in California, more people still buy it illegally. And again, some people make the argument that decriminalization status is actually better than legalization given the current form of government and how neoliberals and Republicans control everything. So again, that's important to understand. As well, I personally would say I would probably say that I do think decriminalization would be better. If I would support legalization, assuming the best possible version of legalization, but assuming that that's not going to be happening, I would prefer decriminalization. Major legislation, I already read that. The White House said cannabis policy is under study, but declined to comment further. Again, they campaigned on decriminalizing it. Why we under study? What does that mean? And also, Biden was able to study it for 8 years as vice president when Obama was in the White House. So, what does that mean, under study? What is that? You campaigned on decriminalizing it. You didn't campaign on studying it. What? Okay. More than 2 in 3 Americans support legalizing marijuana, approximately 70%, according to a 2021 Gallup poll that is up from a decade ago when half of Americans were in favor, Gallup found. More broadly, the same Gallup poll found that 81% of Republicans describe the problem of drugs in the U.S. as extremely or very serious, compared to with 54%. The problem of drugs in the U.S. Note that. The problem of drugs. Note that question. The problem of drugs. Are overdoses a problem? Yes. Is drug addiction a problem? Yes. Both of those things would be less of a problem if we did not treat drugs as a crime. So again, the problem, 81% of Republicans describe drugs as a problem, therefore that, they should be illegal. What? No. Yes, overdoses are a problem. You want to know why overdoses happen? It's because of things like bad batches. It's because of people cutting costs. So they cut certain drugs with fentanyl and people get an overdose because, they're thinking they're going to get a certain amount of a drug. In fact, they're getting an even stronger version, so they use too much and they die. Again, overdoses are directly related. There is a one-to-one causation, right? The illegality of drugs directly and almost singularly is leading to this overdose epidemic in this country. So again, if you wanted to fix the problems with drugs, you know what you would do? You would legalize them and regulate them effectively and provide medical treatment to people that happen to be addicted. This happens with alcohol, by the way. I don't know why, we've already got a blueprint compared to 54% of Democrats. Now, again, I would say, yes, there is a problem with drugs in an abstract sense, but the problem should not result in criminalization. Some advocates for legal changes to marijuana laws acknowledge that this makes for a challenging political climate as the midterm elections approach and Republicans cast Democrats as soft on crime. Again, why are drugs a crime? And again, why is this pretending like that's the case? This article is crafting a world where it's like, oh yes, drugs. Woo! Drugs! Oh, there's drugs! Don't look out the window. There might be drugs. Oh my god! Again, 70% of Americans support legalizing marijuana, and yet they're gonna lump that in with a poll on drugs. Not marijuana, but drugs. All drugs, like crystal fucking meth and like crocodile, right? Those are fucking okay. So all drugs, that's going to be used as evidence to keep it illegal. But earlier it says 70%. It's just like, what? 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 Doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any fucking sense. I can definitely see the Biden administration looking at rising crime rates and thinking it would be a messaging mistake to begin to talk about decriminalization of cannabis. Well, how would that be a fucking messaging mistake? Are you stupid? Are you dumb? These are the people that belong in jail. If we're talking about crime in this country, these are the motherfuckers who belong in fucking jail. What? First of all, the rise in crime rate is a myth. Okay? There was a lot lower crime rate when people had a lot of financial stability from the stimulus checks and the child tax credits. Okay? So people are less likely to engage in shoplifting. Again, also crime. Crime. What do you think of when you think of crime? You think of someone like a home invasion, someone coming into your house in the middle of the night with a shotgun and blowing your fucking dog's face apart. That's what I think when I think of crime, right? But actually, crime, like, oh, there's a rise of crime. They're lumping in someone in their own home smoking weed with someone literally, like, assassinating your grandmother. Crime, those are both encompassed by crime in these statistics. What? What? Crime? Again, what the fuck? These are the motherfuckers that belong in jail. John Hudak, go the fuck to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. This is a fucking crime, motherfucker. This article is the dumbest shit I've ever fucking seen in my life. Someone fucking getting pulled over because they had a tail light out and then getting sent to jail because the cops, quote, smelled weed in the car and there's no weed anywhere, and then they get convicted because they're black and the cops smelled weed. That's evidence for some reason. Did they find weed? No, but they smelled the weed, and so now you're in fucking jail. What? How is that related to, oh, I'm gonna get a fucking goddamn hockey stick and beat the shit out of my fucking mom? Those are not the same thing. But when you look at these statistics and when these dumb fuck motherfuckers talk about it, it's crime. Those are both recorded as crime. This shit is too dumb. It's too dumb. This shit is too fucking stupid. It's too fucking stupid. The DEA needs to be abolished, by the way. Just the Drug Enforcement Administration Administrator, Ann Milgram, whose agency oversees federal drugs classification, said earlier this month the agency is focused on drugs such as fentanyl and methamphetamine that are driving record opioid overdose. Again, if you would legalize things like methamphetamine, guess what? Fentanyl would drop, right? If you were to legalize things like heroin, fentanyl would drop. Why? Because they would be legalized, regulated. They would have safety checks. The reason why fentanyl is so dangerous is because it's a more potent version that you can get in the mail very cheaply because it's more potent. That means it weighs significantly less for the same effect. So you can get this shit delivered in the mail, right? Mass produced from, laboratories in China, for example. You can get this shit in the mail and start cutting your heroin and your methamphetamine with fentanyl, save money, right? And then kill people. Again! The DEA is a terrorist organization. Everyone involved with it needs to go to jail. They are all terrorists. They are all criminals because, again, they are committing crimes against humanity. And their supposed goal, we're focused on fentanyl and methamphetamine. Again, their focus, if they really cared about overdose deaths from opioids, you know what they would do? The exact opposite of what they're doing. They would fuck off and they would let people be regulated and legalized merchants and salespeople of these drugs and these substances. And then again, overdose deaths would skyrocket in the opposite direction. Like, when you're taking off, like in the US, now imagine you're in China. You're skyrocketing downward, right? I don't know what the opposite of that is. I'm sorry. But again, they would drop significantly if they were legalized. So again, the DEA is a terrorist organization. Everyone involved with the DEA needs to go to jail for the rest of their lives. They are terrorists. These are neo-Nazis. I need you to understand. There is no distinction, no difference between a neo-Nazi and a typical DEA agent. Let's be honest here. So again, fuck them. And fuck this article and fuck everyone involved with this fucking stupid shit. I'm not going to read the rest of this. But again, the Wall Street Journal is garbage. Who wrote this? They need to be named and shamed. Who wrote this fucking shit? Alex Leary? Fucking Alex Leary. Look at this fucking little fucking fuck. Oh my god. Oh, the cringe. Who does this guy follow? Oh, the cringe. Oh. This guy is a fucking son of a bitch. Throw this motherfucker in jail as far as I'm concerned. Piece of shit human. Opposite of skyrocket is plummet. Thank you. Thank you. Nosedive. Thank you. I appreciate that.